5 things learnt from round 5. Don't sell Smithies, or do, because I'll benefit you guys that kept him. That's what I've learnt this week. Okay, I got that out of the system. I can get the rest out tomorrow morning. Yes, I sold Morgan Smithies, and that's why he decided to go super well. Incredible game from him, by the way. But anyway, 5 things I've learnt. Fantasy tip of the week. To kick things off, has my top 4 changed? And the answer is no. So I had, from the beginning of the year, the Storm, the Broncos, the Panthers, and the Warriors. Warriors coming in at 4th, Storm at 3, Broncos 2, Panthers at 1. And then sort of the contenders for that position then were Roosters in that 4, 5, 6, along with no, I didn't have the Cows there. I had the, who else did I have there? Eagles were up there, somewhere near it. Yeah, that was about it. I wasn't really clear on that mid-tier, but I definitely thought that that would be the top 4, and I think that that's going to play out. I'm not sure if the rest of the 8 is going to be perfect for what I was thinking, but at the moment, they're the 4 best teams. So we had the best quality match of the week be that Storm v Broncos clash. Attacking-wise anyway, it was incredible, but it was just high quality on that front. So, defense is hard to keep them down when the quality is that high, right? So, yeah, a bit of a shootout at that point. And we've seen, some flashes of brilliance from the Roosters and the like, but they're a little bit too hot and cold at the moment. Knights are coming into it a little bit. The Wars just showing their quality, obviously, there yesterday. Eagles, big win over Panthers. We'll speak about them a little bit further shortly, but they've had, a couple of down games as well. Cowboys just don't have the defense at the moment to be a top tier. And then the Raiders showing it off with a good win there, 41-8 against the lowly Eels, who were pretty well one of the most disappointing teams of the week. I'd say them, and obviously the Bunnies. The rest of the squad's not too bad, but they're the 2 clear most disappointing teams of the week, that's for sure, which may as well go through now. That's number 4 there, the most worrying team of the week, and it is Parramatta Eels, and they just had absolutely nothing. You could chalk it down to a bit of a tough one, for sure, that nothing went right. You could see that, Gutho was pretty frustrated. My trade in, thank you. How good's fantasy sometimes, isn't it? It's hilarious, the decisions you can make, but overall, they were dropping the footy. They just weren't on the same page at all, and it shows how important Mitch Moses is to that squad, and Cartwright as well, because they were absolutely dominant that first few games, and they've absolutely fallen off a cliff. So I have to say that the Eels are most disappointing, especially after getting really close last week, and should have beat the Tigers, to be honest with you, there with that penalty goal to finish, but Gutho couldn't kick tonight either. So there's that there, but they've had the biggest fall from grace here. From a team that's been playing pretty well to a very, very disappointing effort in this one, with the Bunnies being the other one, obviously, but we've seen some really disappointing games from them as well. So they're my top 2 disappointments this week. Next one, guys. So top 5 players of the week. So I had, from that first game, Jerome Hughes was the clear standout. He put Eli Katoa into really good situations and really ran this game and made sure that they could round out a victory in that one. I had Matt Burton there, absolutely getting involved in everything, having a field day, putting on tries, setting him up, scoring him himself, and just doing great work down that left-hand side with the shout-out to Kikau. And then I had SJ, DCE, and then a couple of shout-outs as well to Reid Marnie, a cracking game along with Bill Kikau in that game. We had Isaiah Katoa, had an absolute belter of a game there, really just running this team around the park, the Dolphins, and getting them another win. And then a shout out to Matt Timoko in that game there. SJ absolutely dominant in that Warriors game, with a shout out to Wade Egan as well. And DCE in his record breaking match there was very, very impressive. Well done to Daly. Been a cracking career so far, and hopefully he continue doing that. And Reid Marnie sort of turning back the clock in his defensive output and running a team and getting a couple of wins on the board for this Bulldogs team that absolutely need to turn around. So yeah, congrats to him, a bit of an older head. And then you've got Isaiah Katoa and Matt Timoko on the other hand, just helping their teams get a victory there as well. So yeah, just wanted to shout out the sort of top 5 or 7 players in the end, with a few shout outs there as well. There's obviously plenty others, but didn't want to spend all night going through that one, that's for sure. Next one on the list, guys, is the team that adjusted the best this week. And for me, it was the Newcastle Knights. Obviously, bringing back Hastings there, dropping Gamble would have been tough for Tice, but in the wet as well was a really terrific effort. The halves worked well together. They were able to hold on to the footy really well. So that was the big one for me was, their ability to, as I said, hold on to that footy and average a 76% completion rate there. 33 of 43 in the absolute pissing down rain. So that was very impressive. 65% for Dragons, showed obviously 13 errors for them compared to 10. It's not a crazy difference, but for a team that was absolutely still throwing the footy around, that was a great effort on their part there. That's for sure. So they were the big adjustment was that halves pairing and the way that their middles got through and were still able to spread the ball nicely there. So yeah, congrats to the Knights there. Obviously the Dogs was a really nice adjustment as well. They played really cohesively. They dominated down that left-hand side with Kickow and noticed some issues that the Roosters had on that right edge, that's for sure. So they're the big ones I wanted to make note of in that one. And then the Raiders actually just holding that quality throughout the entirety of the game rather than falling off after getting to a lead, which they did last week. They got to that lead and they continued to keep their foot on the throat in this matchup. And yeah, I suppose the bounce back of the week, this one, it really has to go to the Eagles. I wanted to, comment on that one for sure. We saw the Raiders, lose 2 in a row and have a really, really good matchup, but that was against the Eels who are struggling a little bit. So really wanted to focus on the Eagles in this one, 32-18 victors over the Panthers. There was one try that, shouldn't have been a try. Obviously, it was a bit of a shocker, but they earned this victory at home in DCE's record-breaking win. Tommy Turbo had a cracker of a game and their forwards really stood up as well. And this is something that over the last few weeks, they haven't been able to do, especially last week against the Dragons. So an incredible bounce back for the Eagles, getting the job done against the ladder leaders, or what should be the ladder leaders in the Panthers. I think they'll end up first by the end of the season. Okay, we've got ourselves to our fantasy tip of the week. Last week, we spoke about using stats to make your future decisions. So that worked in a few ways this week, and it also didn't work in a few ways. The Gutho one didn't work out. Lussick holding him this week was the correct decision. He picked up about a 48 before updates, which was nice. And we saw here that over long enough, players will always regress back to their mean, up or down, right? So, Gutho this week had a bit of a low one, but that he, as a fullback, that's going to happen. If they, play all right, he will go back up and should be able to score really well in a bit more of a free-flowing game on their side of the ball, obviously, in that one there. But it obviously worked out with Smithies and a few other guys as well. So that was last week's tip. And this week, I just want you to focus on the positives for the week. It's been an absolutely tough weekend with the amount of HIAs, the amount of injuries. Like we had Zach Laybuck go down with an ACL as well. I don't even know what the hell happened with Jordy Rapiner in the end, but he came on and looked fairly free, to be honest with you, in the second half of that game. I can't tell you much more on what was going on there. It looks like he was, his patella or something to his knee was dislocated, and then he end up coming on and playing the second half. So especially and playing out the rest of the game when they had a big lead on the board shows that he's probably fine. So yeah, a miraculous turnaround, especially when they're playing the Titans next week. So what I wanted to go through here, guys, is that all we can do is to make sure we have a limited amount of red dots. So trading out red dots, focusing on that, because it's so hard to get 17 on the park in fantasy at the moment. And if you have those extras on there, if you're holding them for longer than a few weeks, like this week, I made a trade of a green dot to a green dot, obviously to another green dot, and that bit me, right? And it could have happened with other guys. Like I was laughing in the game how this works, right? I was like, oh, do I do the Burbo to Crichton trade? Didn't do it. Crichton comes out and gets 57. That would have meant I held Smithies for his 60 odd, and I'm sitting here in a much better position than I am now. So it's hilarious how it works. So it happens to me. There's obviously some reasons why I should have held Smithies, and even if I did trade Smithies to Crichton, you could look at that and go, well, that's a bit of a crappy trade. Blah 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 blah. The merit of it was there. He was a guy that's going to play 60 odd minutes and potentially not score anything more than a 40. We've seen that the last few weeks, and he's got nothing, not much of an attacking game, not much of a running game, and then he goes for more than double what he's been running in recent weeks, and injuries and the like caused him to play big minutes. So And same with Crichton, like injuries and different things in this game. Obviously, Nat Butcher being out for the week caused him to play 80 minutes. And yeah, there's plenty of other things that happened across the weekend, which ended in guys playing bigger minutes. And really, the big thing here is this: if you copped a lot of the issues that were present, it's 1 week. There are 27 in total. Just try and fix that for now. Trades, we're using a lot of them at the moment, but remember, guys, it is only 2 per week. It's going to be, more crazy when people can use 3 and 4, and people will run out of trades really quick if they're using 3 or 4 trades on a regular basis. So if you're sticking with your 2s, good stuff. The next bit of advice, like I just said, if you've got a guy that's playing and doing okay, probably worth just holding it and saving that trade, which is something I've obviously learnt tonight, which is frustrating, but apparently you've got to give blokes heaps of chances as well, which is probably what I'm going to have to do with someone like Taylor May as well, is just hold him and keep giving him chances and maybe finally he'll score well. But yeah, it's been a fun time, that's for sure. But I'm going to take a deep breath, and I'm suggesting you too as well. The round is over. We move on. We get to trade again, and we have let's hopefully move on to the next week with a bit of optimism, make the correct trades as much as we can. I think I've made 8 trades now? 8 trades now, and I think I've gone 5 out of 8. No, Talangi didn't score that well, but I think it was still a good trade, a correct trade in. They just got pumped, unfortunately. So we'll say 5 out of 8 correct trades because Chan's out. Chan to Talangi. 5 out of 8 isn't the worst in the world. Anything over 50%, I think, when it's a very luck-based game, sometimes it can be in these scenarios when there's HIAs. Like you could have had Tedesco, you could have had Dom Young, you could have had Ruben Garrick. These are all guys that are very easy to own. You could have got very unlucky with them, Geordie Rups like myself. It happens in this game. Stick with it, guys. Stick with it. It is all meant to be a bit of fun in the end. We take it very seriously, obviously, and there were times today I did get excited with someone scoring well, or someone going over for a try or something like that. Like Scotty Drinkwater doing his thing and scoring massive, helped my head-to-head team come out of a bit of a shocking round so far, and end up scoring. He scored really well, and that was good. So there's good and bad to each week, right? And take the wins when it comes. You've obviously got your team that you go for. If you're doing NRL tipping and you're doing all right, I picked the Raiders, so that was good. So there's always plenty of good things to look at with the footy, and obviously in your life as well. Sometimes you do have to put it in perspective. We do see a lot of guys going, "Oh, F my life," and kill me now, and all this kind of stuff that people are saying, and it is super frustrating. And I'm frustrated tonight with the outcomes that occurred. But it's definitely worse things in the world to be worried about, and I think that's where we have to leave things at the end of the week. Is that there's always another week of footy, and as long as your favorite players not hurt and your family's doing well and all the good stuff there, then because all these guys, like you're watching these guys play footy, we're all fine sitting here, and ACL here, concussion here, like these guys are putting their lives on the line, and we're just playing a game. So that's the perspective of the week. I hope that helped you guys, and you enjoyed that video. If you did, let me know in the comments. If you made it all the way to the end, you're an absolute legend, and just say condolences, Jamie, in the comments if you are. Condolences, Jamie, for the Smith. Write that, so people don't think that anything bad actually happened to me, because I'm good. I'm happy, man. And we'll get into the next lot of videos for the week. I can't wait. See you guys.